and it just is heartbreaking. I don't know, listening to Tommy talk about Roseanne, it just gets to be overwhelming sometimes. There's only so much time and so much film in the world and so much time you can put people on screen and so many stories you can tell. There's just so much of it. Just so much.
I'm Doug Sweet. I'm from Matthews County, Virginia. I got a text from Donald Trump asking all patriots to show up. And I said, well, I consider myself a strong patriot. When he dismissed the crew at the end of his speech,
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Went to the Capitol, and what we saw was appalling. It was absolutely such a contrast to what we left. We left a family atmosphere of people having a great time, and we walked into a veritable war zone. I was appalled. There was shot grenades going off all over the place. There was thousands of people on the lawn, or probably hundreds of thousands of people that were just like me, that were looking like, what in the world is going on here? And I looked in up the steps of the Capitol and I saw these little ninja characters dressed in black fighting the police. And I'm like going, whoa, that's not a Trump supporter. They're all Antifa. And that was my first thought. It's like, man, we got to go up there and help these cops out, man. They're getting their butts handed to them. And God told me to go. And he meant go inside that building. And I did. There was a huge crowd in front of me. And I made the choice to follow what God tells me to do. So I moved. I went in. I was praying the whole way in. And it felt like God's hand was on my back, pushing me through a crowd which a normal person could not go through. I know I had an appointment inside that Capitol. You know, I didn't go there to destroy anything. I went there to support my president. And I've never been arrested for destroying anything. That's not me at all.
What have you been arrested for?
Trespassing. I've only been arrested that one time at the Capitol for trespassing and parading, which I wasn't parading. I just walked in. That's the people's house. These little facts roll through my mind later. It didn't roll through the fact. Then we weren't going to see the House or Senate, period. So we told the officers, well, we can't go back because we saw a steel door come down. We're trapped. So I guess y'all are just going to have to arrest us. So they detained us. And that was at 2:45 when we had the handcuffs put on. And we didn't get let out of there until 7:30 that night. When they let us out the tunnel, it's a congressional tunnel that runs from the Capitol downstairs. As we proceeded down this tunnel, within the first 100 feet, I started noticing clothes piled up. And I noticed they were thicker and thicker and thicker. Everything was black. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. Then I started noticing 3 arrows pointed down at a 45-degree angle on balaclavas that hide your whole face. I know that's an Antifa sign. I've seen it too many times before. I saw enough clothing in the tunnel that if you were to put these clothes on standing people, you would probably have a crowd of 300 to 400. Some of the guys that were with my group, I knew who they were when I saw them, and I think they were called Seven Hills Antifa out of Richmond. What the first thing that Bruno said to them was, y'all be quiet. He was talking to the 3 Antifas, and don't you say a word to these people. They did exactly what Officer Bruno told them to do. They didn't say one word. So these guys remained with us till we exited the tunnel. When we were put into the paddy wagon to go that last block, the watch commander that night, he came out with a pair of thick snippers and snipped all 3 of the Antifa's zip ties off of them and told them they could leave without charge. The girl that was with me, Cindy, got thrown against the wall and got her glasses broken by one of the cops. Now, Cindy doesn't remember a darn thing about January 6th. She just remembers kind of the next day going home and thinking, what did I do? Now, the 3 Antifas got at it. I knew who they were. She was different. In fact, this is what I remember about my first encounter with her. She was across the hall from me, and I tried to lock eyes with her to say, kind of speak without saying a word. And she looked down, and I'm like, she wouldn't make eye contact. But she'd been beaten too, it looked like to me.
As Doug began to describe this woman, I started to get a feeling that he might have been describing someone we had already worked with, Victoria White.
What color shirt was she wearing?
A red shirt.
I was there. She was with us. She was jailed with us. She was taken out of the tunnel with us. She was led to a cell, and I think she was released. I never knew who she was or what she had done, but she was very disheveled. This woman looked like she was absolutely abused, and she was very quiet. And yes, I could attribute that to shock.
Vicki?
Yeah,
It's Chris Burgard, ma'am. How are you?
I'm been better, but I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Good. I got some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm sitting here, we're filming with my friend Doug, who was arrested and held on January 6th for several hours before they processed him. And he's thinking that maybe you might have been the woman that they added to the group. Victoria, meet Doug. Doug, this is Victoria.
Hi, Doug.
Victoria,
Were you in a vest? A black leather vest?
yes, I know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were very disheveled, and I didn't know quite what to think. I didn't know what you'd been through.
I was so in survival mode. I tried not to make eye contact with anyone. I was just trying to survive because I was in horrible pain.
That's her.
Yes,
She's wearing the red.
that's her.
Out a window, let alone
That's her.
You want to see how much they beat her?
Probably not, but I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Okay, here we go. She's right down in this area.
My,
That's the baton that's hitting her.
holy crap!
See? You can see.
What in the?
Now he's hitting her with an open fist. He's now punching her. I don't know if he broke the tie and lost it, but then he starts hitting with this.
My, why? She's not even fighting back. I knew something happened to her, and I didn't know which side she was on. I had no idea. Now I know. Now I know she's on my side. And man, I feel terrible that happened to her, and you want to do something about it.
I would describe myself as a mother, a Christian.
So you were in Washington on January 6th,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Why did you go to Washington?
It was a last minute thing. I was asked by my friend if I wanted to go and said yeah. And so my oldest daughter wanted to come. And
Who are these people in the picture with you?
on the left in the white is my friend Larvita, and then myself, and then my oldest daughter, Tatiana.
And so when you got there that day, what was the feeling you had on that morning?
It was one of the best, actually. After being in lockdown so long and people being forced to wear masks, this was different. You saw a lot of people who felt a lot like me, proud of your God-created face, no mask, and just a feeling of like we all had the same kind of beliefs and, we loved freedom.
We're from Minnesota and we're out here to support our president and our country. Trump! Minnesota!
Yeah, it was a happy feeling.
That was my experience too, is that the people there were praying and
Yep.
saying the Pledge of Allegiance and just sort of a very patriotic, people of faith sort of feeling.
Yep, it was.
So as you approached the Capitol, where did you wind up and what happened?
So when we get close to the Capitol, you just see a massive amount of people. I didn't see any signs that said do not enter or anything.
Or restricted area?
No restricted area, none of that. There were just people everywhere. Same type of thing that we saw at the Ellipse, where people just were singing patriotic songs, people praying. And, the closer you go, the more packed it gets. And you're just weaving in and out of people.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend and I, we see a staircase that goes up to the next tier. And it's really narrow. So there's a line of people. And it had stopped because someone else is coming down the stairs. So as we stop, my friend, she starts looking at her phone. When the line starts moving, I move with the line. And then as I get to the top and I look back, I'm like, my friend's still down there. I'm like, I said her name and I yelled for her, but the line keeps, people are coming up and pushing.
You were kind of getting pushed along.
So as I'm standing up there and I hear, Antifa, Antifa. And I'm like, I look, and here's this man. He has his helmet on that looks like he just plopped a Trump bumper sticker on his green helmet.
Right.
And he's trying to hit the window out. So I immediately think like, oh my gosh, why is everyone just saying Antifa, Antifa? No one's stopping him. So I run and I managed to grab the window breaker and push him down. I'm like, we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. So as I'm doing that, people are like, we're all on the same side. I'm like, no, we're not. We don't do that. So as I'm yelling and I'm like, get him the H out of here. I was really cussing. I was just really mad.
So it upset you when you saw him breaking the window?
Oh, yeah.
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 And you wanted to stop it?
Yes. Someone's doing something bad to give us a bad name.
Right. Right.
So as I'm trying to get him down, and I'm like, get him out of here. And I'm telling other people, because, there's men in the crowd,
Right.
I'm like, get him out of here. So as I'm doing this, there's another man who, when I'm doing this, he's behind me and reaching into his backpack, and he pulls out the exact same type of weapon that the first man was using. It wasn't the first man's, it was his own.
Mm-hmm.
And so he pulls it out, and he must have brushed up against me because I go to turn around. And as I go to turn around, the woman's like, no, he's not going to do nothing. And next thing I know, I'm like, here he is trying to break out the window. So I go to reach to go to grab him, and these men pull me back. And as they're pulling me back, I manage to get my hand loose, and I pull this guy's backpack and I yank him down. So as these men are pulling me off, I'm in shock and I realize oh my gosh, because these men just pulled me off, first of all. And then second of all, comes the shouts and get that effing beep out of here, throw her in the window. And then I get scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I had noticed earlier, before the breaking of the window incident happened, that there was a man from Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
and he was up on another level. So there's another terrace. And so after that happened, I see this archway, and I'm like, oh, that's another area to go to the next level, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then the crowd is so I'm just trying to stay up and alive. Next thing I know from the force of the crowd is that I'm in now the tunnel.
So the crush of the crowd forced you into the tunnel. So if you would just talk me through this as much as you can.
So there's me with the water bottle, and I'm trying to hand it to somebody. And it's so jam-packed, mush. I'm almost gonna be trampled. And my hat falls off, and I'm pushing just to even keep my head up.
All right, what happens to you now?
They're pushing, everyone's pushing. The police are spraying at the people.
So they're taking you into the tunnel.
It's just, look at them push.
Yeah.
They're pushing into the tunnel.
So after you get in the tunnel, what happens?
Well, besides I get super maced, there was an officer up on a ledge, and he was just going to town. And then there's the other officer who seems to target me.
He singled you out.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Was there any sort of reason that
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know.
And so when he singled you out, what happened? What did he do?
And he started beating me with a metal collapsible baton. The first blow, it's like I blacked out. I thought maybe I got hit like 3 times. So it wasn't until I finally saw the video that I saw how bad it was. Like, I know I got hit, and I know at one point I said to one of the officers, like, you took an oath to the Constitution. They called me the B word, and I got hit again. And I know I was just trying to stay up and grab onto whatever I could to not slip and fall and be crushed. And
Have you seen the footage of you being beaten?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have that?
This is the first part.
No, this is the body cam from one of the officers.
Right.
That's me in the red.
That's you?
Yeah.
In the red.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And this is new body camera footage that came out that was actually withheld from my discovery from my attorneys.
She's trying to get out, and he grabs her, pulls her back in, and then slams her face.
Oh my God. So they grabbed you, pulled you back in.
And then after they did that, they like ping-ponged me between each other. Officers pushed me backward between themselves, and then they end up taking me in, and my shoes had fallen off. My coat had fallen off because many times I'm almost falling to the ground.
And you're bleeding.
Yeah. They say that I was aggressive towards the police, and that because I grabbed onto a police shield, or that I put my hand on my head to try to stop the baton blows, that I was being aggressive toward police, and that They want to even put an enhancement on that. So
So you were guilty of attacking the
apparently
police.
that's what they're trying to make it out
You're attacking his baton with your
with my head.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, this must have been, you probably have some kind of PTSD from that, I would think. I mean, it sounds like just an incredibly traumatic experience.
Yeah. And one that I have to continue to live every day because it's been 2 years. And even some of the video that's come out, the body cam footage and stuff, like, they won't let us see our discovery. And it's not just me, all the January 6ers. That's why we asked that the video be released publicly, because they can't claim that they're going to give it to us and then not, or, which is what some of them are saying. Oh, your attorneys can get it. Yeah, we made sure. No, they still can't. That's a lie.
Were you arrested? Did they come and arrest you after this when you got back home to Minnesota? How did that occur?
In April of 2021, I believe it was April 8th. I had been sleeping in the living room and the window was open a crack, to let fresh air in. And all of a sudden I hear like boom, 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 boom. Like they knock. You can't, like, once you hear it, it's so different. It's just
It's
so
not a knock at the door, it's a
no.
pounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I jumped up and it was like 5 something early in the morning. And they're like, the Victoria, we have a warrant for your arrest. You need to come out. And I'm like, and my daughters had jumped up and I'm like, because they're just loud and they're just persistent with their knocking and banging. And then I happen to look out the window and I see all these cop cars and unmarked cars, and then you have the Rochester Police Department, and then you have the FBI agents, and then you have them not just at my house, but you have them surround my freaking block, and you have them come to my house and my daughters are sleeping. And I was like one of the lucky ones that they didn't like just push and ram into my house like in like so many January 6ers, and they bust down people's doors and they drive tanks on their lawns for the military men, and they hold their wives and their kids at gunpoint. And it doesn't matter. Guess what? There's so many of us that aren't. We're not just white. We're mixed, and we have families that are all types of nationalities, and they don't care because they've already labeled and marked us, and that's the situation that we're in. And my daughters are worth me speaking out, even though it hurts. So I'm speaking out, and I'm using the most powerful thing that we have, and that's why we have the First Amendment first, because our voice is very powerful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you have your trial pushed to the September of this year. Are you going to go to trial? Have they offered you a plea deal of some sort?
Yep, they offered me a plea deal. But I almost took it, but then I changed my mind. Yeah.
And do you remember exactly what the plea deal was they offered you? What they asked you to plead guilty to?
Yeah, to the felony.
They want you to plead guilty to the worst charge. Yeah. And you considered doing it.
Because I wanted to be done with all this.
Yeah. I get it. What made you decide to not take that plea deal, to fight it?
I went to DC and for my plea hearing, and I stayed with Mickey, Ashley Babbitt's mom, who I love, and I went down to the Freedom Corner where they're outside the jail every night, and I heard the guys on the phone, and I was there, and I couldn't take the plea. I keep going for them.
Hang on to you. Hang on to me. Hang on to all the people, places, things, inspiring you to breathe. So hang on. They crush the thoughts that you think that are different than what they said. You know the ways you're so unique, and different's not really so bad. You blur the lines, color outside, even paint the background red, and that color fills in our empty hearts and heads. Hang on to you, hang on to me, hang on to all the people, places, things, inspiring you to breathe. Hang on to right now. Please listen loud. Today may not be all you want, but tomorrow may give you all you need. So hang on. It's alright, you're alright, I'm alright too. So go on, I promise something good's on the horizon.
Heavenly Father, lift this woman up, Father. Fill her with the full armor of God, Lord. Let angels come descend her and protect her, Lord. You saved this woman, Lord. She could have been trampled in that crowd. She fought for her life. She tried to get air. They pulled her back in. They beat her, and she stood, Father. She didn't go back to the ground. She stood. Bleeding, they dragged her in. She's still standing. Ashley didn't make it. Roseanne didn't make it. But you saved Victoria for a purpose, Lord. You saved this woman. You've called her to a higher purpose, Lord. Now I ask you to protect her. I ask you to lift her up. I ask you to fill her with the strength she needs to look the enemy in the eye and say, no more. This is where we take our stand.
American needs to look and search their heart and search their family and say, how long are we willing to tolerate this? How long are we willing to allow Washington, D.C. to tell us what type of lives we're going to live?
I'm actually thrilled to be alive in this season because it is a refiner's fire. I can look in front of me and to my right, and I know that I'm in a foxhole with men I can trust because we've already been tested. You didn't run. We're ready for the next onslaught, and we know we'll stand strong. We've gotten stronger. We're anti-fragile. And to think, well, you know, it's a one world government. It's unstoppable. They are a gnat on the butt of an elephant. God holds the heavens in the span of his hand. A sparrow doesn't fall from the sky without his full knowledge. God will squish them like a bug. He is waiting. If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways of apathy and inactivity and self-reliance, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land.
And I pray for Ashley Babbitt and her family that they can see justice one day for Ashley, because that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for truth and we're fighting for justice. I ask these in your name, I pray. Amen.
Hang on to you, hang on to me, hang on to all the people, places, things, inspiring you to breathe. Hang on to right now. Please listen loud. Today may not be all you want, but tomorrow may give you all you need. So hang on.
Last time I was here, there were hundreds of people on these stairs waving flags and saying, this is our country. This is our house. It's still our house. Stop being afraid, people. Stand up for what you believe in. Stop letting them intimidate you.
After many months of Christopher Wray not returning our phone calls or our emails, Nick and I decided that it was time for us to talk to Christopher Wray face to face.
Don't think.
Hey, can I help you?
Yes, sir. Are y'all open today?
Not today, we're not. What you need to see?
Director Wray.
No, he's not here today.
Could I leave him a message?
What's that?
Well, two things. We're making a documentary and hoping he could be in the film for us. So we just want to know if he can make time in his schedule to be in the film.
Well, I can't give him the message. You got to call
Okay.
to the public relations department.
Yeah, we called and left a message.
We did that for a couple months. Could you ask him if he's still investigating me for making the last movie?
No, I'll see what we do about that.
I appreciate that, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a blessed day, sir. Thank you.
Well, looks like he's not going to talk to us.
That's truly disappointing.
He'd just say the same lies to us that he said to Congress.
You know, all that's necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Are you going to do nothing? Or are you going to stand with us?
According to 18 U.S. Code Section 4, it is a legal requirement that anyone who has knowledge of a felony committed within the jurisdiction of the United States must promptly disclose. Failure to do so may result in fines, imprisonment for a maximum of 3 years, or both. Today, I want to officially state that I am reporting the deaths of Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Kevin Greason, and Benjamin Phillips. It is crucial that these deaths are thoroughly investigated to ensure justice is served. I implore you to not remain passive observers, but to hold those responsible for these injustices accountable. It is imperative that we restore faith in our justice system and safeguard the rights of all individuals involved in January 6th. Thank you.
Forza and ad Deus et Gloria. Strength, and to God be the glory in all things.
Well, thank you all so much for blessing us and watching this mini-series, this project. If you feel called to be a warrior in the war on truth, please consider paying this forward. And I said, please donate. Click this button. That helps us pay for this production. Thanks, guys. God bless you.